Hi everyone, Flav from the Blockchain Game Alliance. Happy to be your host today for our regular demo day, something we do on a monthly basis and sometimes every week, depending on the kind of activity we're seeing in the BGA. And today, very excited by what we're gonna see, because it's not just one but two members for one and only collaboration. We're gonna talk about Tings and Sura Gaming. Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Hey Rod and Julia. It's a pleasure to have you with us. I'm excited because it's a collaboration between two members of the BGA, as I said. In March, just before one of the best, if not the best, sport competition of the world, especially for a French guy like me who are watching the French team very closely. I'm sure, Rod, you will have your own opinion, which is okay. We're not fighting for that today. But yeah, it's good to have you all. And we're going to get into the demo right now with the game. And obviously, we're going to have a calm session with Rod, Sura Gaming, and Julia Playtingz. But I'm gonna let Julia demo the game so you can have a view of what it is. And yeah, Julia, whenever you want, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Flav, and excited to be here today. So we're gonna start by showing you our World Cup game that was just released today in cooperation with Sura Gaming and also our third partner, Momentum. So we will talk about that a little bit later, but let's look at the game mechanics first. So it's a simple tap game where you can tap for more energy points, EP points, and you can see at the bottom we also have a global stadium meter, which means that the more people join, the more it fills up, and it actually unlocks new tickets to the World Cup. So yeah, you heard it right. The price of this game are free tickets to the World Cup. So we are super excited to provide that, and we will tell you a little bit later also why. In the next tab, you can see we have a few upgrades based on your skills, few are idle. Special ones, they will be released the more you tap and the further you progress in the game. Our leaderboard here, so you can see we just started releasing it today, so still fresh. So yeah, you still have a chance to win the tickets if you join, so that's amazing. And then we have a lot of gamification in the game, because one of the main goals is to also spread the message about our brands, about Sura Gaming, get more players in. So you can see here some of the tasks to get more EPs are to follow the Twitter accounts and so on. To share it with your friends. Yeah. So that's the game. So you have to go back and play it every day and as much as possible. I saw on the Sura Gaming leaderboard there already some crazy amounts of EPs happening. So some people are already addicted, I can see.
That's cool. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that. So why these game, guys? Why did you decide to partner together? Why does it make sense, especially with the competition happening? Obviously, we need some context about you two, what you're doing from the on the side of Sura Gaming. With what is the app and what is the objective of the app? So Rod, I will let you start, but also Julia. After that, will be interesting to understand. What was the request from Rod and the Sura Gaming team to make sure that you can provide kind of an engaging application? So what kind of things you were expecting to do on your side? So it would be great to understand everything around that. So Rod, yeah, to start with, explain what is Sura Gaming, what is the app, and how did you come up with this idea of doing this collaboration?
Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me here. It's always a pleasure to have these jam sessions, and with Julia, it's always a pleasure. We have been in a few. So at Sura is a company that has been around for a while, for more than 5 years, and has evolved. The market has evolved. The market is shifting, and Sura is also evolving. At this point, I like to say that we are building a layer that gives meaning to engagement. It's not just a feature, it's an infrastructure. So basically, we are about to launch a new product. We have our app where you download the app. It's also accessible via browser, and it's a full ecosystem. You have missions, quests, you discover games, and so on. But was very around just quests. So with the new product that we are about to launch is a 360 app. So you have the full 360 app focused on LATAM. This is very important. So we have a loyalty system, we have still the missions, we have tournaments, we have rewards, we have community layers, and then we have embedded payments. This all interconnected. So we want the user to come in, to discover his favorite games, to engage with mini games. Everything is gamified. You can, every action that you do, you earn points, and then you can exchange those points by rewards or for rewards. We will have a rewards marketplace, and this can be, gift cards, can be hardware, can be whatever, unlocking a special exclusive video from your favorite creator, a piece of merch from the esports team you support, and so on. In parallel, we also have, as I said, it's a fully fledged ecosystem. So we also have a fintech partner. We'll have our own Sura branded Visa card that will allow you, to make your online and offline purchases and so on. So we are not just launching an app. It's a hub where everyone, we bring all of this together in one place where people can, discover games, join the competitions, build their own clan, their own community and something. So it sounds very simple on the surface, but underneath it's basically, you can see it as a system that is designed to drive loyalty, engagement, and monetization in one loop. So now the question, why Tings? And I try to be an educator in this space, and I always say that usually people, especially because we come from a Web3 gaming background, and I have a feeling that people always start in the wrong place. They start focusing on tech, they start focusing on tokens, they start focusing on narratives. And we started the opposite way. We start with one question. Why would anyone come back tomorrow, return tomorrow? And this is, I think this was the lens that connected us with Tings and with Julia in Singapore last year. This question plus $200 tea, a cup of tea, literally $200. And okay, the stars aligned. We found common ground, and we've decided that we had an opportunity to build something together. I think Julia will elaborate more on that, but Tings is building this AI-powered experiences for brands. Brands aren't just about visibility anymore. And on the other side, we are building this loyalty and retention ecosystem. So I think we had a very strong alignment from the beginning. Fast forward, here we are, just freshly launched our collaboration. Yeah.
Freshly launched, as you said. So Julia, what was the kind of request from the Sura team, and how did you translate this request into kind of these games? As you both said, it's around simplicity, so it should serve different purposes and objective, as Rod mentioned. How was bring us into the context of why this collaboration was actually meaningful for both of you?
Yeah, perfect. So I think Rod mentioned already a little bit, and I have been to a few BGA demos already, but you guys know we're working on instant branded games. So we are really looking in what way we can use AI to reduce the development process and the cost as much as possible. We are focusing on casual games, hyper casual games, mini games. I know some of the other BGA members are focusing on other aspects of this AI generation, but this is where we are. And what we really want to change is how brands and IPs engage with the whole gaming economy. Like, it's a 3 billion user market, and actually most of these really big IPs and brands haven't discovered it yet, haven't entered it yet, this ecosystem. And this is where Tings really wants to facilitate and bring, more, basically also more engagement, more users, and also more funding from these brands into the economy and put more spotlight onto it. I have a very strong background in corporate, coming from the Adidas side, coming from the Google side. So actually, yeah, sports events, as you can imagine, is a full circle moment, working at Adidas directly with this kind of big activations, and now doing it in a new form is really exciting. So when we started talking to Sura back in Token in Singapore, it was very clear that we want to increase engagement. And as we know, Sura's really strong base in LATAM is also a base which is crazy about football. So we kind of started talking a little bit, and I think it was a two-way brainstorm. Actually, it wasn't like a straightforward request. It was more of an idea, like, how can we make this World Cup even more exciting and accessible, so people, don't just sit in front of their screens, but they actually have a way in to participate, to feel part of the World Cup, and really how we can build this excitement. So as you maybe know, some of these tickets for the World Cup are going now for like $15,000. So we partnered with a third partner, which is called Momentum, which I also met at Token Singapore. You can see, good conference. So hopefully we will be all back this year. And so we partnered with them, and what they are providing is tickets at face value. Like the founder of the company worked with FIFA. He's ex-FIFA. They worked on this FIFA collectibles. So it's, like a right to buy tickets. So we are using these mechanisms to really give free tickets to the top leaderboard members. And so really started brainstorming, like, what could be interesting for the Brazilian community, for the Argentinian community. And we didn't focus as much on the game mechanics itself. We really wanted something simple. People come back every day, something that's very easy to share with their friends. So they also have an incentive to share it with their friends, and it's easy to communicate. And for people to discover the new the Sura app, and stay and stay and come back every day for. So what we decided is to start, actually the whole tournament started like today, and it's going for 2 weeks, so very limited time. So people really have to go and be engaged, exchange and share it with their friends, and that's how we see it. And we of course have a lot of ideas how we will continue this kind of tournaments and this whole World Cup, because it's just getting started. No, the World Cup is in around I think 50 days, so we have lots of times to continue and engage with the users.
Yeah, it feels like when we investigate a little bit, and that's exactly what you two said before. So the app, it's an engagement app, not specifically forcing anyone into to going into blockchain and Web3. Like, it's not even part of the of the app specifically mentioned, but this is kind of an experience for a lot of gamers or players in South America to actually experience something. It is a new app. I don't remember, Rod, but it might be a few months when the Sura Gaming app was launched. How many?
It was last year that we soft launched, but the new app comes live in 1 month, more or less.
Okay. So obviously, it's very difficult in the world of application, especially gaming application, to actually exist through the variety and diversity of app we're seeing. And it seems like having the competition from the FIFA is a very good acquisition point and strategy. But from that, the more important thing you're looking for is not only engagement, but kind of building habits from the players who will be experiencing the app every day, because this is the way you can win with everything you just show, Julia, which is the leaderboard. So you need to come up with the every day if you want to win something. So is it kind of the strategy you're having, kind of creating habits for the players who, for the users in LATAM who might discover the app for the first time?
Yeah, I think habit is a good word. I think because I've mentioned loyalty before and retention, and sometimes people have the tendency to think loyalty. When we describe loyalty, is just about points, and it's not. It's about giving people meaning to time, so that every action that you do leads you somewhere. You play, you engage, you invite your friends, you compete, and you have that sense of progress. And once that clicks, of course, everything changes. Retention stops being forced. Attention is easy to buy, etc., etc. So in that sense, yes, loyalty, retention, these are strong words, important words, and so on. Uh, um, I think LATAM is, and I would like to leave a short paragraph on this, is the perfect environment for this, because usually our attention is all centered or in North America or in Europe or in the Asian region. And LATAM is one of the most underestimated regions in gaming. As a major audience, it's mobile first, it's deeply social, speaks either Portuguese or English, and is all about community emotions, competition, and of course, because we are talking about FIFA and the World Cup, maybe our American viewers don't understand how big is the World Cup, the largest event in the world. And it's I think this is an amazing opportunity for us to use this event, that you this is a cultural event. You can't manufacture it. You plug into it. And I want to also give a shout out, Julia already mentioned, to our partner Momentum, because we all bring different aspects to the game. Momentum brings their expertise in engagement, ticketing system, and so on. Julia and Tings, they bring their expertise in creating, this new wave of brand AI generated games and engaging with brands and so on. And our side, we bring the community side and the loyalty app. So all of these three pieces together, you can't see it just as a campaign. It may be simple on the surface because it's a very simple game. That's the goal of it, that you don't create complexity. But I would say this is a stress test for a potential distribution act on a global scale. But we start now with this experiment with the World Cup and on LATAM, and then we see how things evolve. Yeah.
No, I agree with that. And Julia, lead us to. We were fortunate to have you on a few demo days. You showing the platform itself, generating how easy it is to actually generate an ID for a game. Lead us to how easy. Lead us to why Playtingz was actually the best company to collaborate in this ID that Sura Gaming wanted to make happen. Why it was interesting for you and the platform to actually handle this on your side.
Yeah. So what we really like, what is really important for us at Tings is to be always at the front and to have this cultural relevance in gaming. And a lot of this is only possible by being very fast, being agile, thinking about how do we get this like casual gaming concepts quickly out of the door. So when we started Tings at the beginning, actually, we just saw that as many of the people watching today know, creating games is a very manual process, no, and it takes a lot of time, a lot of iterations. It's not easy to technically replicate it, and that's why also all of the big tech companies didn't manage yet to create a game AI as they did for images or videos, but we were really exploring like which elements can we make faster, where we can bring up the speed and without losing ourselves and replicating any big, a triple A titles or anything like that. How can we replicate those simple games to be fast, to be cultural relevant? And I think that what really resonated with Sura when we were talking about, how can we have many iterations on the games to keep it fresh, to have this like live ops, so the user always gets fresh updates. So even for this 2-week campaign, we are actually adding a lot of features along the way. So every time there are more users joining, we unlock new prize pools, we unlock new ticketing, we are adding more gamification, sharing, social sharing mechanisms, things like that, to really keep it interesting for the user to come back to not only have the simple clicker game, but to add different layers to the engagement. So what we are really excited about is what kind of data we will get out of it. Like how long did the user engage with the game? How many times did they come back? Where did they come from? How did they find the game? And I think that's some of the metrics Sura and we are super excited to look into, and like what kind of pull this big cultural moments can have also in gaming.
Yeah, there is for me one very interesting point you mentioned, which is the ability for a team like Sura Gaming to be agile while developing and maintaining the activity of a game for live ops, as you said, which is super important because, as Rod just said, it's all about stickiness, meaningful experiences. So if you make sure that you along the way update the game, that's actually more meaningful because that's a living game. So exactly what you need within an engagement platform like the Sura app. So I really like what you just said here. So what will be the next what will be, as a last question for you two, what will be the expectation for you two, so after the 1 month, when you're gonna have a look at it, and what do you plan, if there is any plan, maybe not, but what do you plan after the 1 month together?
Julia, you want to go ahead? I'm a gentleman.
Yes, of course. Um, so what we are planning, so it's a 2-week activation. If it goes really
2 weeks.
well, there's even a possibility to do a little bit of an extension. So yeah, join the game and you will see there will be more happening. We also have a few other game concepts in the back of our sleeve, which we are thinking about testing and picking up, leading up to the World Cup and disengagement. And I think, so that's something to consider also, as Rod mentioned, with the new Sura app launching soon. We are really thinking about how we can integrate those games for engagement to support the launch of the new app.
I think from our side is, and I've mentioned before, this is a stress test for us. We are testing an idea, a concept. At the same point, is also about positioning. We will launch a complete new app with a complete new scale, slightly different positioning, way more features. And we want to show that we are not just a gaming platform. We want to use the system that can connect any cultural, in this case, a cultural moment, with participation, with rewards, with real-time value. And the longer play will be, today is the World Cup, but tomorrow can be anything. And I think this is the layer that we are building. Most campaigns end when the event ends. With Tings, what we have been discussing is, okay, we test this concept now, what's coming next? And we have already some things in the pipeline. But just simply from a Sura standpoint, is because once users come via this World Cup, they enter the loop. They have the missions, they have the tournaments, they have the rewards, they have the communities. And this event is just a trigger, it's just a hook. And the system will be what will keep them engaged. So this is what we are building. Of course, it sounds very simple, and I'm afraid I'm oversimplifying. It's slightly more complex than it. But from a user standpoint, should be all about that: simplicity, fun, engagement, the social aspect, and so on. So exciting times ahead for sure.
Yeah, it is great to rely on these games to test the user journey you expect your users to have and how they're going to interact with every part of the app, as you said. So really looking for what you're going to get. Remember that we're actually working on a playbook around reward system. So if you have any interesting KPIs, you just share it with me. I know that's, as Julia said, but I can testify on that. She has a lot in her sleeves, because I remember very clearly the game you developed, which was a beta game during, I think it was DevConnect. It was definitely an Ethereum
Yes.
event with a head-to-head game. So I know that you have a lot of genre you could explore with the Sura gaming team based on what you just did. So thank you to you two to explain what it is, what's behind, what you expect from this collaboration. I'm super obviously excited by that. Just for the fact that you are both members and working together. And yeah, hopefully we're gonna get some feedback from you too about the good KPIs you're gonna get. But thank you for explaining everything.
Thanks for having us here, and don't forget to download the app and start competing for the chance of winning a ticket.
Here you go. Even if Argentina will not win the World Cup, you can try. That's okay. That's it.
I rest my case. You know, I'm a Ronaldo fan, so I rest my case.
Okay. So we can be friends. But yeah, thank you too for your time, and I see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you for having us. Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao.